This is Russ. I'm back out on the road again. So what am I riding today? Well, this is the KBO Flip. As I mentioned before, this bike was given to me, not one that I actually requested. I cannot do a full rotation on this bike, as you know. I'm kind of scrunched up a little bit, even at the maximum seat height level. You know, the seat post has little knurled sections, and if you went above it, I think it's probably not safe. Besides that, it tends to slip if you do that. So you have to kind of put it in the little knurled area. Otherwise, you're not getting what you think you're going to be getting. And so, so that makes me even shorter. What I'm doing today is I'm doing a range test on this bike, and I don't know what kind of range we're going to get. I'm going to put on a graphic here what the amp hours is on this battery. I can't remember, as you know, I have such bad short-term memory. It's 48 volts though, right? No, it isn't. It's 36 volts. Yeah, I keep forgetting everything. It's 36 volts. So because it's 36 volts compared to a 48 or a 52 volt battery, it doesn't have as much push. The voltage is the thing that pushes the current forward. Can't talk either. So you want a high current rating, like, you know, if this battery was, say, 14 amp hours versus one that was 20 amp hours, you want the 20 amp hours because that essentially gives you more current to push. And the 36 volts is what pushes that current forward. So if you have a 48 volt system, it pushes it more. If you have a 52 volt system, it pushes it more. Wattage is a function of voltage times the current, and that tells you how much watts you can expect to be able to push out. Well, as you know, if you pedal assist on a lower pedal assist level, you're using up less wattage. It doesn't require as much power, is basically what it's saying, and so you get more range. But the problem is, for me, I can't do that because I can't pedal very well with this. Like I said, if you're shorter than me, I would say if you're at least a maximum of 5'8", this might be a decent bike. Unless you want to change out the seat post, buy a second seat post, and that's possible to do. Nothing says that you can't do that. Just buy a taller seat post, and then you can pedal all day long. But again, this is the stock model. Now, I haven't changed anything on this bike. The only thing I added was a bell right here. I put a standard bell here. I didn't even put my fancy bells on it. Didn't come with a bell. I think it really kind of should come with a bell. And you have 3 levels of pedal assist. I didn't even put a mirror on here. So this is pretty stock. The only thing else I put on here was the cell phone mount. Now let's take a right over here. So even though I hit the throttle and I'm pushing all the way down, it takes it a while to get moving. Now, as I'm doing this, and every time I have to stop, and as you know, I didn't even stop. I just kind of rolled through that. If I were to fully stop this and then have to start it up again from the beginning, the mileage would drop even more because there's no forward momentum. So I'm going to be doing rolling stops again, as I usually do. And I'll be looking over my shoulder for cars, since there's no mirror on here yet. Now you may ask why I didn't install all this stuff. It's because I really don't plan to use this bike. Like I said, at best I would do is I would let relatives try it or friends try it out if they wanted to try a bike. But I do have a relative who's semi-interested in this bike, and I did tell her about the issues that I felt the bike had. But again, I don't know whether if she's really that interested in going really fast anyway. Thing is, she is rather tall. I mean, I would think she's close to my height. If anything, maybe 5'8". I don't know. So maybe she could do it. Now keep in mind too, if you're lighter in weight, which she is, of course, compared to me, your mileage is going to increase. So this whole thing with these mileage tests I've been doing, like I said, is just a relative thing for me to know. And this has a 275 maximum weight capacity, but I'm not quite there. I'm about 260, so we got 15 pounds to go, but I added a second battery. It's sitting on the rear rack right now. I don't know how heavy that is. Let's say 7 or 8 pounds, let's say. So we're coming close to its maximum weight capacity at this point. So based on those things, you have to remember whatever the mileage is on this, you will probably do better if you're lighter in weight than me and if you're shorter than me. Because we're maxing this bike out, really. See, I'm doing full throttle right now, and it's 12, 13, 14, 15, come on, 15. So it's gonna take a while. So as I promised before, I won't be just talking about the bike throughout this ride. We just kind of introduce what we're doing, and then we'll go off and talk about different topics. And then at the end of the video, I will put a graphic up to let you know what my total mileage was. Okay? So if you're just curious about what the mileage range I got, you can fast forward to the end of the video and take a look. All right? And I won't be saying it. I'll be putting it as a graphic, because I may finish this video before I finish this actual ride. So just look for the graphic towards the end of the video. Usually within the last minute or so of the video, you'll see it. I can't tell you what it is now because I'm still riding it. So yeah, you have to look at the end of the video. So I'm not going too far anywhere. I'm really debating where I can go. I was really thinking about hop off here. I was really thinking about taking the bike to go to the post office, because I do need to drop off some mail, but I can't ride this bike fast enough and compete with the cars. So I really said I don't want to do it. I don't think it's as safe for me to do it that way. Usually when I go to the post office, riding down the street, I'll do 24 to 28 miles an hour. I can't do that on this bike. Really, I get about 15 miles an hour on this bike. It'll do 20. I mean, if we just sit, we're at 17 something now. If we just sit and don't touch this, just let it keep moving, and so we're at 19 right now. You'll eventually hit the 20 mile an hour, but it's a long way to get to the 20. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cruise the neighborhoods. Go on the path a little bit here, get off of the path, go around the neighborhood again. I think that's really all I'm gonna do. All right, let's take a right. The brakes are not the greatest as well. It does take a while for it to stop. So you do need to brake well in advance if you want to stop the momentum of the bike. It is a mechanical disc brake. And it's a 350 watt motor. Just for some things, in case you didn't see the original first review, I'll make sure there's a link so that you can see the original review if you're interested in this bike. It was designed for somebody other than me, all right? Someone smaller in stature, someone lighter in weight, someone not interested in going very, very fast. I mean, if you're interested in going, let's say 15 miles an hour or less, this would be a great bike. Yeah. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of like the Jetson Bolt. But I have never ridden one of those things. Those are the ones that were sold in Costco, really small bikes. This one's better quality, obviously. It's a bigger bike and but it kind of reminds me that it's made for a person that's interested in that kind of bike. You see what I'm saying? But not quite the actual Jetson Bolt. Something that's a little bit bigger, but not really big. So it may be a while for this thing to come down in battery. I carry a second battery because I want to see how far we can get on this one battery with my weight. It'll be an interesting test, that's for sure. This is not my ideal bike for me to use, and that's why I really never really wanted to take it in initially. But I know, to help KBO out and the other YouTuber who ordered the bike from them, I took it. I'm usually very picky on which bikes that I take. This car's letting us go through, so I will take it. And I know based on my weight and everything, I said it's not really suited for me, but that's okay. It's a decent test. I mean, we'll see how it does. All right, let's talk about some other stuff. We'll just let the bike go and then just look at the end and you'll know how far I got. So, what else has been happening? Well, the weather has been getting warmer out here. What time is it night now? It's 7:44 right now, and I wanted to get an earlier start today, although I would originally had hoped to get out here earlier, but I didn't. I still had to prep the bike and put all my stuff on and everything. As you notice too, I'm not wearing the iconic black long sleeve UV protection shirt. I'm wearing a gray one made by Columbia. Yeah, my wife and I went to Wisconsin, and there's in Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin, there's some outlet stores out there, and we were at the Columbia store, and she happened to notice some long sleeve, lightweight UV protection type clothing, kind of similar to what my daughter had purchased for me. In fact, my daughter has a gray one for me too. I just haven't used it yet. And so I figure I better start wearing some of these other ones rather than the same one all the time. And washing that over and over and then just wearing it out. So this particular one, the sleeve is a little bit longer than that fits me, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. It's really there just to protect me from the sun, and I do have sunscreen on. My wife made sure that I put some on. She said, put some of the stuff on, and I did it. Got my sunglasses on, got my X-Needle helmet on, it's blinking. All right. So I decided to stop. There's no way traffic on both sides is going to get through this path with the maintenance truck up there. So anyway, the distance between the handlebar and where I am is a little bit shorter, so every time I get off, I kind of run into this cell phone mount. It happens a lot on a lot of the bikes that I have, but this one's a little bit more closer. I am missing my water bottle. I don't have a mount for the water bottle on here. There is no ability to put a mount for the water bottle, I don't think. So you'd have to get like one of those water bottle bags if you want to carry a water bottle with you. There is no front basket option. The rear rack is being taken up with the secondary battery. So yeah, you gotta make do. You gotta find ways to carry things with you. So yeah, I have my gloves on, of course. My fingers are, it's kind of funny. You see how my fingers are sticking out here of the glove because it's just a partial glove. That section gets always dark, and then underneath it is always light. And so I kind of look striped on my hands all the time. I'm not quite as dark as I always seem. It's all tan all the time, because underneath I'm a lot lighter. Looks like they restriped this road here. I guess it's about time. They did fix this road a while ago. They're doing a lot of road surface resurfacing these roads, putting new asphalt and everything down in the general area. I think like up ahead, right as we're crossing here, this was done last year, and then what we just crossed over on, that was done this year. So, oh, this water is getting all over the place. I guess if you were hot, you can go underneath that waterfall. So yeah, the temperature's been getting hotter. It is expected to be in the upper 80s today. When I left, it was just almost 70 degrees. They said about 60, 68, something like that. By the time I'm done, it'll be mid-70s. Now 70 degrees is my ideal temperature for riding, especially like right now it feels really nice. It's got a nice cool breeze hitting me. It's not extremely hot yet. Going forward, I'll probably be doing most of my rides in the morning. I don't particularly like riding when it's hot out. So I've done this for the last 2 years where my rides are really early in the morning. I mean, we're talking like 7 o'clock or so, sometimes even earlier than that, just to beat the heat. Get my rides in, then come back. Yeah, I can't. See, the thing is, I can pedal, but it's just that my left knee doesn't have as good of a flexion as other people's knees. Like my right knee is perfectly fine. I could pedal this, but the left knee is stiffer. And so when I go on the upstroke, you know, you're kind of bending your knee more, and I can't do that very well when I'm this low on this bike. So yeah, it must be a funny sight because I'm a big heavy guy on a small little bike. Now I'm maxing this out right now. You know, as you see, I put the thumb throttle thing that's 3D printed thumb throttle on there, and I'm maxing it out, so that's going to eat up the battery faster as well. So what else is going on? Okay, so anyway, like I said, my relative might be interested in this bike. I told her if she was interested in it, I would let her have it. I originally was going to hold on to it. I made that flip video a little while ago, and my original thought was I was going to hold on to it and let people borrow it. But the more I thought about it, you know, she had an interest. I gave her the forewarnings of everything. I just said, you know, it's not the most powerful bike. It's got these issues, this and this and this. But I don't know whether she really cares. So she doesn't care. That's up to her. That she can buy it if she wants. So I said, you know, I have 2 batteries. I have to sell it with the battery if you buy it because the battery doesn't do me any good by itself because it only fits this bike. She would still get a really good deal with a second battery on it. So what else is being sold? Well, the Himiway EP2 Pro is being sold. Yeah, here's an interesting story. So one of our subscribers contacted me and he said that he's like 76 years old and he has I believe a hay bike right now, but he wanted a folding bike that he can put in his vehicle so that he can bring it places. Makes sense to me. I wanted to know if I would be interested in trading one of my bikes for a guitar. Well, I got a lot of guitars, but not to the amount that this gentleman has. He has a lot. So he's getting up in years and he says, I don't really need all this stuff either. So he wanted to know if I could trade a guitar for a bike. And I thought about it and I go, well, I just put it this way, guitars take up less space, physical space, than a bike. So I said, well, yeah, okay. So of course he was interested in the Magicycle Jaguar Rundy, but I can't sell that off because we use those ourselves when we go out riding together. So I was looking at the inventory and I just said, well, how you? So based on today, I says I still have this bike, of course, but it doesn't suit what he wants to do. He wants to take it off-road and stuff. But there is that Himiway EP2 Pro. Now that was the second bike that was ever given to me for review, and I've kept it all this time. I didn't sell it off because I actually kind of like that bike. It'll go up to 28 miles per hour. Of course, that'll eat up your battery if you do that, but it can do it, right? And so, you know, if you keep it in conservative 15 to 20 miles an hour, you get pretty decent range out of it. I was able to get, I think, 32 or 33 miles out of that on a single battery, pedaling and throttling. So I asked him if he was interested in that, and I guess he said yes. And so we started looking at the guitars. We did a FaceTime thing, and so I am trading that bike for those who are guitar people, a Paul Reed Smith PRS SE Standard 24. Now you might know that guitar is really only worth $699 brand new, so it's not a very expensive guitar. And the Himiway with a second battery, because it has 2 batteries on it, I don't know what it is, like $1,100 and something dollars, $1,200, something like that now. So yeah, he's getting a real good deal. But that's okay. I can't ride all my bikes, and he has a need. He came up with a creative way to get a bike. So I said, yeah, okay, that's fine. I'll trade it. So yeah, he's going to have that bike soon. He's planning on picking that up on Saturday. My relative who's interested in maybe this bike will be coming on Saturday as well. So we know the Himiway is going away. So is that the end of Himiway? And the answer is no. Himiway has another bike that they're going to give me eventually. We're just waiting for it to show up. So yeah, so there's a model that's going to be given to me. I won't mention which one it is. Let's turn here. But yeah, you have to wait and see. But it'll be a new Himiway bike coming out for review sooner or later. Probably a little later. I think it's a new model coming out. So I can't say too much about it. So anyway, that's new. So one goes, one comes in. I thought, okay, he's gonna buy this Himiway. We just cleared up some space, and then the very next day, Himiway contacts me and says, "Hey, you want this bike?" Of course, I said yes. Okay, I would be happy to check it out. So that's coming. Now, what else is coming? Yeah, there's another bike coming that's from one of our existing manufacturers. That'll eventually be coming. Again, a new model coming eventually. Oh yeah, just striping everything so they don't want you to run it over. And what else is coming? Oh, a new brand. Sorry, I went through the stop sign. I'm going to be going through a lot of these stop signs today. I really can't stop on this bike very well. Starting up again, I'll just be eating through the mileage. I just want to know roughly what I'm getting on the mileage. So and then what else? Another brand is coming in as well. So yeah, there'll be 3 bikes coming for sure. Possibly a 4th, but I haven't heard back from that company. They wanted me to work on one of their bikes for the last couple of months. I kept telling them no because I didn't have the time. I just had too much other stuff going on, so I didn't want to take it. Let's turn here. And so I contacted them, but I haven't heard back from them. So it's possible that they are not interested any longer. That's okay too if that happens. It's not like I need another bike, but I told them I'm available now if you want to send it over, but I haven't heard back. Sometimes that happens, you know. They're no longer interested in you because you were kind of flaky, and so now that you're ready, they're not. So it's okay. All right, what else? Trying to think if there's anything else new to tell you that hasn't been told yet. I do appreciate your comments in the videos too, by the way. And that is the one thing I wanted to say. Sometimes people try to contact me on the Facebook Messenger thing. Yeah, don't do that because I don't ever really look at that. I think somebody tried to ask a question there or had a complaint about something there. Not about me, but about one of his bikes. But when I went to go look for it, I couldn't find it again. I don't know what happened to that message. But yeah, I don't think he was too happy about one of the bikes that he bought and wanted my opinion on it. And yeah, I saw it real quickly. I got off of it because I don't spend that much time on the Facebook thing anymore. And And then when I went back to try to go back to see if I can answer that question, it kind of disappeared. I don't know what happened to it. So if you're the person that sent that message, and I think he had a complaint about the Jaguar Rundy or something. I don't know what the real complaint was, but all right, they got the stop sign thing, but they're walking up and I'm on a bike, so usually I will stop, but I saw them, so I wasn't going to be running anybody over. So if I recall the complaint, I think he said something about the display screen or something, or controller. I don't know what he was saying. They had a new one and he didn't like it. I don't know if they had a new one because nothing was told to me that something was new. He didn't like the brakes or something too. I don't know if it's because it's squealing. I don't know what the complaint about the brake is or something. If you're hearing like clicking sounds on a hydraulic brake, that's normal, okay? Because I get that on my Jaguar Rundy. I get it out of my front brakes. I think he mentioned something about hearing it on the rear brake. That's actually normal. Some bikes do it, some bikes don't. You have to remember that the rotors have like perforations in it. So when the brake pad hits it, it's going to go tick, 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 tick. You know, my wife even mentioned that too while we were on our trip in Wisconsin. She goes, "Hey, how come your bike is making noises?" I says, "That's just the brake." She goes, "There's something wrong with your brake." I go, "No, there isn't. That's how they are. Some of them you hear it, some of them you don't. But it's braking perfectly fine." I mean, obviously we prefer that we don't hear it, but sometimes you will. So anyway, that if you're the person that put that comment, those are my answers. And I think from my memory, I think that's what you asked. But again, I don't know anything about this controller thing. He said it's a new controller and he thought it was stupid or something. I don't know what he said. I don't know what the complaint is. I never got a new controller. I never heard about a new controller. So, or the display screen. I don't know what it is that he's talking about. But no, it's new to me. I haven't heard anything about it. Yeah, we're going a slight hill, so the best I'm doing is 12 miles an hour right now. All right, now we're evening out. Let's take a left turn here. But yeah, not a very eventful ride today. We're not going distance. We can't go too fast. I mean, I'm maxed out at this point. We're only doing 14 miles an hour. If we go up a slight incline, the speed will drop on this bike because it's really taxing that 350 watt motor to try to get up the hill. In fact, this entire ride's probably taxing the motor because I'm a heavy guy and I'm pushing that throttle most of the time. Anyway, my wife asked me, well, why are you even bothering doing the mileage test on this bike because you don't plan to really ride it much? I says, well, you know, we've done it for the other ones, and we might as well do this one too. I mean, why would we not? I says, I just want to get an idea. But many of you guys have told me that the range test, although I feel it's kind of worthless for you, is still worthwhile because they said that we know what you've been getting on the other bikes. So this is just kind of like a relative how much difference are you going to get on this bike versus the other bike, even though it doesn't really mean the actual range that you guys will be getting. So in that sense, I guess there is some value to it. So yeah, let's see what a 350 watt motor can do with a heavy guy on it who's not pedaling. Yeah, I have a hard time. My left knee is just not bending well enough when it's this low. You know, I've said before in the past I like a good extension. It's actually better for my knee to do that than it is when I you know, if you're seated if you're stopped and you're able to stay seated. That's too low, actually. And of course, I can't bend my knee even to do an extension, to do a pedal stroke. So even right now, I have a hard time. My left leg is having a hard time doing that. You need a better flexion what I'm saying is when your seat is lower, you bend your knee more when it comes up, right? Well, I have a hard time doing that, so I have to have that extension. So for those people who have knee replacement issues, when people say you should stay seated more and be lower, that's actually not true. You need to be higher, all right, so that you can get a better extension. It'll make it easier for the pedal. I think they're gonna fix this road too. Yeah, look, all these road construction signs are up. Yeah, we're not gonna come down this road that much anymore until they fix everything. Yeah, everything's on a construction thing here. Let's get past this. Yeah, I could already start feeling the heat. It's already starting getting a little bit warmer. Now the battery meter shows full power, full battery. Well, we know that can't be true. So again, this is one of those bikes that you really can't trust the battery meter, because it shows that, hey, you haven't used any battery. Well, I've gone 7.5 miles already, so you know you've used some of that battery. The Magicycle commuter bike is the same way. If you ride that bike for a while, it'll show that you got full battery, and then all of a sudden it'll just plummet. So you can't trust it. Oh man, there's so much pollen. You can see it floating. All right, look off to the right here. It looks like snow. It's got that much. Where is all this coming from? Yeah, it literally looks like snow on the grass to my right. Also to my left too. That's crazy. Very first time I seen that much, I was actually up in the Michigan area. We were visiting my sister-in-law and brother-in-law. They lived up there at that time, and we saw all of this pollen just rolling on the ground, just like we just saw there. I said, I have never seen that much in my life. This stuff would be killer for my wife. She would be sneezing like crazy at this point. So I think it's coming from the open fields from the school next to us here. It's like maybe all of the pollen from the grasses and weeds and whatever, and then because there's nothing stopping it, it's rolling. The wind is pushing it, and then it stops at that grass level over on this side. Because over here I don't see anything, just over there. So it's got to be from the open fields. You know, they got football fields and open grass area for kids to play in. They don't play. Gym class, physical education class, right? So I think that's why it's just nothing stopping it. Just rolls into the place where it can stop, and it's just across the street, right? But man, that's a lot. That is definitely a lot. Anyway, I mentioned, getting back to this bike, I mentioned my wife rode this bike. She did better with it, but she says she did the same thing. Let's take it right here. She did the same thing. She throttled as well as pedaled at the same time, try to get some speed out of it. And she doesn't usually throttle. I mean, she usually only uses the throttle to get started from a stop, and then that's it. And she pedals the entire time, as we know, because we see her on that video from Wisconsin. She's non-stop pedaling. So she said to get some speed, she pedaled and throttled at the same time, which is what I usually end up trying to do. But she said it's okay. She says it's not a bad bike, but she says it's definitely not the same as her other bikes. All right. Well, they cut all the grass over here. Usually when they do a grass cut, all right, we're going to get off of this thing because the maintenance truck is up ahead of us again. Let's take a left. Yeah, I think she had a harder time with it too, but she said it wasn't so bad. But still, I mean, the fact that she had the throttle and pedal to try to get some speed kind of tells you something. Oh, let me answer a question. Somebody had asked me, several people have asked me this before in the past too, is how are you able to stay seated for so long on these rides? I mean, we've already done 8.4 miles, I'm still seated. I shift. Yeah, I don't stay seated in one position. I'll get up and I'll kind of shift from butt cheek to butt cheek. I shift around a little bit. Because, yeah, if you stay in the same position, that's going to be kind of hard to do. So, yeah, I shift around a little bit. But you know, like right now, I'm just kind of standing up and shifting a little bit. I also have my saddles adjusted a little bit differently. Not this particular one, but which I kind of wish I did. I kind of tilt the nose of the saddle down a little bit more. My wife doesn't like it because she feels like she's sliding off the saddle. But I tilt it down a little bit more. That gives a little more space for guys. You know what I mean? In an area that you don't want to be squished in. So I tilt it down a little bit. That kind of helps as well. And then, of course, a lot of times my saddles are wider saddles. I don't use the stock saddles a lot of times. Most of them are Bikeroo saddles, but the current range of Bikeroo saddles seem to be less cushiony, a little stiffer. I don't use the one that has the springs on it. I use the one that's with elastomers, which is essentially just rubber. They said that those were made for indoor exercise bikes, but it's the same exact saddle without springs, essentially. And I have done one change on the Magicycle Cruiser. As you know, I was given a, let's turn here. I was given a suspension seat post from Sun Tour from Magicycle. And I was saying I was slipping a little bit. I could feel it slipping because it uses a sleeve to adapt the 27 point, was that 27.2? I don't know what the exact numbers are. To adapt that size to a 30 point, whatever it happens to be. Is that 30.9? I don't know. See, this is where I can't remember all the specific numbers. But you know what I mean. And because of the sleeve, it was kind of slipping side to side a little bit. And I had the Giddy Up saddle on there, the extra large, which has like wings on the sides. The weirdest looking saddle. It has like wings on the side. And I think because of that non-supported wings, it was helping it shift a little bit more because it's kind of like bouncing from side to side, right? So I decided I would take that Giddy Up saddle off and put the Bikeroo on there because it's wide, but it doesn't have those extra wing type sides to it. So I haven't tried it yet. I just made the change the other night, and I will try it out to see how that works. But a couple of you guys said that, because I said maybe if it was stickier or something, what they said that they did is they took a little bit of sandpaper or something to scratch up the post a little bit so that it became rougher rather than smoother. I don't know if they did that on the inside of the sleeve or if they did that on the post itself. The only thing is that that's like scratching up the surface of the thing. I don't know if that's good or not. I guess it's aluminum, right? So it won't rust, I don't think. But they said that made a difference. Now, others have mentioned that just get the seat post that has the exact same size. Well, yeah, sure, that would be the ideal. But if you order from Magicycle, I think it comes with those sleeves, so it's a smaller size with the sleeve. Now, if you have more than one bike and they have different diameter seat post openings, then getting it this way with the sleeve is actually better because then you can swap that saddle and post on different bikes. For me, I do have bikes that have both different sizes, so I would be able to actually just move that thing from one bike to the next bike if I wanted to. But if the slipping is going on, that's no fun either. So I'm going to have to try either scuffing it up like they said, or put something that makes it a little stickier. because that would kind of help it from having the slipping problems. It doesn't slip down. It just shifts from side to side. So it's not like it's falling down or anything like that. It's just I can feel it as I'm pedaling. I'm shifting a little bit left and right. But I think part of it is the giddy up. It makes it happen more. So if I get rid of that one and just use a standard saddle, it might be better. And someone else mentioned too, could you try putting the suspension seat post on the Magicycle Deer, the full suspension bike? Yeah, I thought about that, right? Haven't done it yet, but I will do it. I will do it and report back and let you know how that feels. I kind of fully expect that will have me bouncing around all over the place. Now, when I say bouncing around, I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm saying it's when you hit a bump, the suspension will absorb some of that shock, is what I'm saying. But yeah, sometimes my choice of words is not the best choice of words. But I think you know what I mean, right? Yeah, I'm not like bouncing all over the place. I mean, that's not what's really happening. It's just that when you hit a bump, it's like a shock absorber. That's all it is. You're cutting grass with all the pollen, not good. Alrighty, well, I think I will call it a day. I'll put a graphic up when I finally finish the end of this ride to let you know what the end result was on the bike. I'm at almost 10 miles right now that we've been riding together. So it's 9.9 miles. Battery meter still shows 100% full power. I don't think so. What is this thing? Got extra life of its own? No way. It's just the meter's not good. I've mentioned that before, that the meters are not to be trusted on any of these bikes. You really don't know, what it really is. But yeah, according to this thing, it says, yeah, it's all the way high. Oh, okay, this is not it. This is over here. I'm looking at the wrong spot. What is this thing? It says H. Oh, that's your pedal assist, low, medium, and high pedal assist. I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm sorry. It's this gauge right here. It shows 4 out of 5 bars, and when I hit the throttle, it still shows 4 out of 5. Okay, 3 out of 5 bars. So yeah, we have been dropping. Sorry, my mistake. Sorry, KBO. No, it looked like that other one because it looks like bars, right? When you look at that thing, they should just say high, medium, and low. They're just saying you have 3 levels of pedal assist. You're on the highest level of pedal assist. Yeah, that bar thing is kind of confusing. Look over here on this side. That's what tells you the battery. So we're 3 bars. All right, I'll put a graphic up here, let you know what I did. Anyways, if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Talk to you guys next time.